Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Morning Musings. I hope everyone is doing well. Um, see, we got a few people checked in already to the chat room. Carrie Blackman's in there. Glad you could join us, Carrie, and thanks for being a moderator. Even though we really don't need moderators on the Morning Musings because everybody in here is pretty much laid back, and I don't have to worry about people starting crap here. But anyhow, like I said, welcome to another Morning Musings. We got storms rolling in right now, guys. So knock on wood that the internet connection holds up. For some reason, where I'm at, every time it rains, it seems like Comcast cuts out on us. So hopefully, we won't lose connection today. Um, do got a couple things I want to say real quick before we jump into the live stream or jump into the chat room and see who all is here. Um, Upcoming live this Tuesday, um, we are going to be announcing the winner of the Caternix Kids project or program, either one. And also, we have a new thing that we're starting. It's a new series for the live streams. We're going to be introducing a new farm, maybe a couple times a month. As a matter of fact, this Tuesday's live is Double R Farms, which is run by Kerry Blackman. And he's going to come on the live stream, talk a little bit about his farm, types of animals and quail and whatnot that he keeps, and just to let you guys kind of get a better idea of who's who in the quail community. So that was a new idea I thought we'd try out and see, how that goes. Also, I've been working on some new videos that I just released a couple of them. One was on what was it? Oh, wiring up an incubator for those who have bought the new DIY incubators. We go in a little bit more in depth on how to wire them up and get everything dialed in and working right. I'm also currently working on a video on how to dial in your incubator, regardless if it's a DIY incubator or a commercial incubator or store-bought incubator, whatever. We're going to go through all the things that I do to get my incubators dialed in and working properly prior to setting your first batch of eggs, or just prior to setting any batch of eggs. There's a lot of things that I hear people, complaining about poor hatch rates and whatnot. And I'm going to say 90% of the time, it's usually due to an issue with either the incubator or the operator. Seems to me like a lot of people try to turn it around and put it back on the breeder, but I think it's more of an issue with having your incubator dialed in and tweaked, so you know exactly what's going on with the with your incubator when you're setting your eggs. I did have one person over on the one of my videos that I just released. I think it was the video about wiring up the Inkbird. He asked if I could bring this topic up on the live stream, on this morning's live stream, and he wanted to know what alternative heat sources people could use for the mini incubator. Mainly because when I first designed that incubator back, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, incandescent light bulbs were pretty easy to find. But when they started getting a little bit more difficult to locate, we went to halogen, like a 75 watt halogen or 60 watt halogen, and those work pretty good. Halogens right now, believe it or not, are getting a little bit tougher to find locally. You can order them off of Amazon. They still got a pretty good supply of them there. I know one of our members, I believe he's in here already, Tony, he actually ordered a whole case of them so he would have plenty of backups. But that's what I'm recommending right now to use as a heat source for that incubator. But you can get away with using one of those ceramic reptile heaters. It doesn't really look like a light bulb, but it's a ceramic heater. Them work. The only issue that I found with those, and I tested those on the bigger incubator, was that one, they take longer to heat up, which is really no big deal as long as you plug the incubator in 24 hours, prior to setting any eggs, you're good there. The other thing that we ran into is they take longer to cool down. So if your heating elements turn on and it brings the temperature up to 99 degrees, which is where the heating elements turn off, the residual heat in those ceramic elements makes that temperature rise up a little bit closer than I want to 100 degrees. I try to keep it below 100 degrees. Anywhere in the 99.5 to 99.9 would be fine. But once you get past 100 degrees, I get a little bit nervous, especially if you're, using backup thermometers to keep an eye on, what temperature is going on in there. But we are going to keep working on, alternative heat sources for those incubators. So if that's, if that's what you're worried about, don't worry about it. Like I say, we're always going to have some type of heat source that's readily available that you guys can, add onto the box if you want, if you can't find the light bulbs. So I hope that covered what you guys or what that one member wanted. Another thing I wanted to bring up, and this is not really a big deal over here, on our live streams, Tuesday live streams, we always do giveaways. And it seems lately that the people that are being selected to win are not, emailing me or contacting me to claim their prizes. So I don't know what to do about that. I mean, I'm not going to chase people down. A couple people that, if I knew who they were, I'd go ahead and just private message them and say, hey, you won, send me your shipping information. But I don't know. It seems like lately we've had people that aren't claiming their hatching eggs. This past week, hatching eggs and jumbo egg cartons weren't claimed. So I don't know if you guys got any ideas on what I can do as far as that. Maybe I need to call the winners off earlier instead of waiting until the end of the live stream. Maybe I could call it off, mid live stream. Because I think what's happening is the people are getting tired of watching and getting tired of waiting, and then they take off and their name gets called and they never even realize they get called. So I don't know. If you guys got any ideas on that, let me know. I think that's about all I wanted to touch on this morning. Let me go ahead and jump over into our chat room and see who is joining us. Andy Rabbit is in the house. Good morning, Andy. Glad you could join us. Andy says good morning with a little sun there. That's pretty cool. And he says, morning all. Eggs going in the Terry Baiter after the show. 1 week old from one breeding set. Here we go. I hear you, man. I'm glad you got a good hatch rate on that last hatch, too. I don't know, for those of you who don't know, I set some silky eggs about 3 weeks ago. And I had a batch hatch out, when was it? Friday? I set 24 eggs, 23 hatched. I've never had that good of a hatch rate on chicken eggs ever. And I've hatched chicken eggs quite a few times, but I've never had, I don't know what that works out to be percentage-wise, but, 23 out of 24 eggs, that's not bad. So, and yes, that was in a Terry Baiter box. There's Carrie. Carrie Blackman says, good morning, everyone. Carrie's the guy that's going to be joining us Tuesday on our live stream. Like I say, it's going to be an introductory series to, I'm not going to say new breeders on the block, but breeders that may not be as well known as some of the other people. Obviously the guys that have been around for a while that are big, everybody knows who they are, but we've got a lot of really good breeders who, some are just getting into it. Some are breeders that are on a smaller scale that nobody really ever knew about, and they are going to start shipping eggs, hatching eggs and birds and whatnot. So we want to kind of give them their minute in the spotlight and, hopefully help them drum up a little business. And he said the sun popped up here a bit ago. Cool. And he says hello to Mary. Deanna Dalton's in the house. Says, happy February from chilly New York. Glad you could join us, Deanna. Mary says, you go for it, Tony. Nothing more fun than an incubator TV unless it's brooder box TV. I hear you. I'm the same way. I've got right behind me. I don't think you can see it. Oh, maybe you can see that top one if I get out of the way. Yeah, you can't see the birds in it, but anyhow, there's two brooders back there. The top one's got older chicks in it, and the ones down on the floor are the ones I just hatched out. I'm the same way. I still love sitting in front of the brooders and watching the chicks. Mary says, good morning. Still dark here in Washington State. Can't even tell what the day will be like. Got my coffee, and I'm ready to visit with everyone. And I am glad you could join us, Mary. And Mary, as far as your concerns with the Coturnix Kids Project, that was a project that was started over on CoturnixCorner.com, and that's where it's going to stay. What I was talking about as far as taking it over to Facebook was to basically advertise it over there, trying to get more people to come over to Coturnix Corner community and get their entries in and whatnot, and help drive up the membership over there. Anita Garrett's in the house. Good morning. Glad you could join us, Anita. And Andy Rabbit says good morning to Carrie and Anita. Kenny Channel's in the house. Says hello. Glad you could join us, Kenny. Caroline Dufault says good morning. Glad you could join us, Caroline. Dragon Girl's in the house. Says good morning. Dragon Girl, every time I see your profile icon there, I think it's Anita Garrett. She's got one also that has a German Shepherd dog on it. Okay, James Kohler's in the house, says good morning. Glad you could join us, James. There's my buddy Salvador Santiago, says hi, Terry and everyone. Glad you could join us, Salvador. Carl Hurst is in the house, says hello, everyone. Why is that out of place here? That's supposed to be down here. Hold on, I got to get a drink of coffee. I got something in my throat. Ooh, I love these cups for keeping coffee hot. They are nice. That's actually my original Yeti. Normally I have a Coturnix Corner tumbler out here. Clifton Bucks in the house says good morning, everyone. Glad you could join us, Clifton. Don Skin says good morning from South Mississippi. Glad you could join us. There's my brother-in-law, Maury Straubel. Good morning from chilly Michigan. I'm glad you were in here this morning, Maury. You're not going to the thing over there at the Special Olympics. Oh, I don't know what that is. Coffee phlegm, I guess. Fred's in the house. Says good morning, Terry. Maybe I can wash it down with water. Mary says, hey, everyone, the house is filling up. Hope everyone has their coffee and drink of choice. I actually have both. I have my coffee, which is really too hot to drink right now, and then a bottle of water to keep my whistle wet. Free Time says, question, in your opinion, at what point would you consider quail sales a business? I mean, theoretically, whenever you start making a little bit of money off it, it's a business. But I think as far as, worrying about having to file taxes and whatnot for your business, I think there's a $600 annual $600 limit on the amount of sales you can make annually. That's a good question to put to your state. I have, to be honest with you, and I hope no feds are watching, I have never claimed my quail business on anything tax-wise. So, and usually all the money I make from my quail goes right back into the quail as far as feeding them. I tell you, a good one to answer that would be Anita Garrett. She's here in the house, and they have done quail as a business for many years. So. Heidi Homestead says, good morning. I hope I said that right. Good morning. Cute looking pup you got there. Mary says, hey, everyone, hit the like button. I guess I better hit it because there's nobody. I'm the first one to hit it. Minnie Zagroda in the UK says, hi, Terry. Hopefully you're okay. I just got a question. What would you say if someone, especially in Europe, claiming that they've got Texas quail? I think it's BS. Okay, if you're talking about the Texas A&M line, nobody has that. That line was discontinued a long, long time ago. I believe that people are using the Texas A&M moniker as just a name to describe a dotted white. Um, there's a lot of that whole naming business when it comes to quail. I mean, like a lot of people refer to pharaohs as jumbo wilds, jumbo browns, jumbo pharaohs. Um, it's just a name thing. But as far as somebody actually having the original bloodline from the Texas A&M, I I don't believe that anybody on the planet does. That program was discontinued a long time ago. Don says, I plan to use a heat strip like the one you showed in one of your videos with a Inkbird PID controller. Yeah, that would do it. Like I say, whenever you go to switching anything on these DIY boxes, and I don't know, Don, what kind of a box you're using, but there's a lot of testing that needs to go on. I mean, even in the ones that I designed, something as simple as a fan change or a light bulb wattage can throw off your whole incubator. It took me 6 months on the original incubator, the original DIY box, the one we have here on the channel, and it took a good 6 months of testing before I've got it finally dialed in and working exactly the way I want it. And another thing that makes a difference is your location. I mean, my incubators are out in my shop, and during the summer my shop gets 90 degrees, so that plays a big difference on heat and humidity. But the incubators that I have in here right now, and actually I'm running the air right now, which I really don't need to be, with exception of the hatching time incubator, that's the only one that's insulated well enough to where I don't have to worry about bumping the temperature up to hold temperature. But some of these plastic housed incubators in this room with the AC on, I've got to bump the temperature up to 100, 101 degrees just to get it to hold 99.5. So we're going to talk a lot about that in that upcoming video, dialing in your incubator. It's going to cover, tweaking your incubator for a room that's not climate controlled versus a room that is climate controlled. So, yep, we'll go into all that. I'm sorry about all this hacking, guys. I got something down in my throat that just won't go away. Annie says, good morning from soggy Southern California. Glad you could join us, Annie. James says, I found a 250 watt PTC heater with a fan attached on Amazon, really cheap, that I use. I would be interested in talking to you, James, as far as what size box you're using, what size incubator, because I've actually tried that. I've actually tried the 100 watt with a fan, and it was overheating the box and also drying out the humidity so bad that you couldn't, no matter how much water you put in there, you couldn't get the humidity up. I'd be interested in talking to you to find out, what you're using, and maybe we can incorporate that into them. Tony says, question, what do you think about adding a water line to the Cherrybaiter so you could add water without opening up? Yeah, you can do that. Just, drill a hole in the side somewhere that's a little bit higher than your water tray. What I found, Tony, and you being down here in Florida, what I do is I fill up, well, I don't use any water during the incubation cycle. It's just dry incubation up to 14 days. And on day 15, when I go into lockdown, I fill up my water trays, and that's it. I don't add any more water. It holds the humidity, for 2, maybe 3 days. But yeah, I mean, you could do it if you were worried about opening the box. But like I say, fill your water trays up prior to the birds pipping, and you shouldn't have any issue. Gary says, select a backup person. I'll always take egg cartons and gift cards. I'll keep that in mind, Gary. We already read that one. Dragon Girl says, could you add a pinned comment with the winners? I don't know. Can you pin a comment in a YouTube group or in a YouTube chat box? That's something I've never tried. Let me see if it. I'll be darned. There is a pin method. See, I never those little three dots to the right of it. I never open them up. The moderators always deal with that stuff. That's a good idea. Um, but I think too that if we announce the winners midstream of the live, maybe they'll have stuck around long enough to claim their prize. Either that, one thing that I was thinking of as I'm going through, this is the way I normally do it. As I'm going through the and reading off all the comments in the chat, if I come across a comment that I really like, usually I'll write that person's name down to get one of the prizes. But maybe instead of just writing it down and reading it at the end of the live, I could read it right when I read that same comment. That way I know they're still in the group. Yeah, we're going to have to work on that because, we have quite a few people, quite a few breeders that donate hatching eggs and whatnot to give away. We got Gopher Ridge Quail, we got Bryant's Roost, we got Thieving Otter Farm. Anita Garrett used to give away prizes all the time. So what I've been doing is rotating the breeders on who we're going to give away. Instead of giving away 3 sets of hatching eggs, we'll rotate one breeder per week. That way it's not so hard on the breeders as far as, having to ship hatching eggs out every week. Okay, Carrie says it doesn't give the moderator the option. Okay, I guess that's something I'll have to do, but yeah, we'll get it figured out. This isn't the first time we ran into this. I announced it a couple years ago. Hey people, I got prizes piling up over here. If you guys don't claim them, they're, I'm not going to look for you. Okay. Anita says, maybe just say that if anyone in the chat needs to drop off, to be sure to take a look at the stream and jump to the end and check the winner announcement. I would have thought that people were doing that because some people said, hey, I got to run. I'll check back later to see if, you called my name. But I don't know if people are anything like me. I usually don't go back and watch, a whole thing. Or even to skip around, and watch the end of it. But that's an idea. I'm kind of leaning towards just making the announcement, as I'm going through the live stream. Do maybe one first part of the live stream, one in the center, and one towards the end. Drag Girl says, or you could send the goodies my way. Sure, we can do that. Promised Land says, I say if they don't wait till the end, then it is what it is. Yeah, and I thought the exact same thing. And I actually mentioned it on the live streams was that, hey guys, if you don't claim your prize, I'm not going to come looking for you, so you lose it. But yeah, that's an idea too. Anthony says 95.83%. That must have been my hatch rate on the 23 out of 24. Thanks, Tony. Good to know. I got another 24 in the box cooking right now, and they go into lockdown Monday. So I'm hoping I get the same hatch on them. And I got to get all these silkies hatched out and out of here because I've got quail eggs coming that I want to get hatched out. Mary says, I say don't worry about it. We're all adults, and if they don't get in touch with you, oh well. You could also post the winners on Katernik's Corner site if you wanted to. I thought about that too, but like I say, I've already announced the winner. I don't feel that I should have to go chasing down the winners, to let them know that they won. Yeah, it wouldn't take much to put up a quick post, but Bob Cole's in the house. It's 22 this morning in Poco Frio. Brr, that is chilly. Fat Country's in the house from Tampa Bay. Good morning, everyone. I made it to the morning musings from Tampa Bay. Glad you could join us. I'm on the wrong page over here. All right, guys. Why is this coffee causing phlegm in my throat? And no, I'm not sick. Nothing like that. I was fine before I had my first cup of coffee. Andy says, it is clear where you need them to email you at. Yes, but maybe you could pin it to your YouTube if it isn't already. maybe remind halfway through about it, and they can always watch the last 5 minutes again. Yeah, it's an idea. Um, yeah, Carrie, who is our moderator, he always posts my email address with what information I need from them, and I know I mentioned it at least 2 or 3 times. So yeah, that's a good idea. Carrie says, "Don't forget to smash that like button." I see one like. I'm going to refresh this page just to see if. Well, we're up to 19 likes, so that's okay. I don't really care about the likes on the morning live streams, um, just because I don't think they get really watched enough to make any difference in the algorithm as far as YouTube's concerned. Now, the other live stream, the Katurnik's Corner live on Tuesday, those lives always get quite a few views, and a lot of people watch them after the fact, mainly because we have guests come on the show that are either teaching something or talking about a topic that people are interested in. So yeah, I can see those live streams getting more hits and uh, affecting the algorithm a little bit more. Maury says, yes, I'm going, starts at 11. Okay, good to know. Hope you guys do good, and I hope those tables go over good too. Patty's Garden Feather says, good morning, all, from my flock to your cubby. Cool. Good morning. Glad you could join us, Patty. Gary says, what quail business? I run an expensive farm. I hear you. I mean, I don't even have a farm. I just have, back when I had all my quail in here and then, birds out back, I won't say I'm spending a lot of money, but I wouldn't want to have to take it all out of my pocket. I mean, the girls, I'm feeding them. They need to work and, kind of help pay for things. Mary says, being an ex-tax person, it's my hobby. There you go. Call it a hobby. It's not a business. It's a hobby. And he says, I guess if your outdoor temp's 100 degrees, you don't need an incubator. I've actually seen eggs that I've collected from outside. This was last year during our heat waves. And I mean, our feels like temps were, in the triple digits, like 105, 108, whatever. I've actually opened up eggs that showed signs of that it was starting to develop. I must have missed it. They were out in the aviary, and I must have missed them. But yeah, I mean, the temperatures can get warm enough to where they will start developing. Anthony says, I keep seeing photos of quail with feathers coming out of the top of their heads like a pompadour. What is that? I have no idea. Oh, are you talking about the California quail? The ones with that little single feather hanging up? I think they call them California quail. I'm not a big, other than Coturnic's, I don't know a whole lot about quail. If anybody knows what I'm talking about or what Tony sees or what he's seeing, go ahead and comment. Don says, I'm using a mini wine cooler for my DIY incubator. I tested it using different water bulbs to determine what size heat strip to use. Okay, good. And that's exactly how I do the testing on my DIY boxes. Is everything gets tested from the CFMs of the fan up to the wattage of the bulbs. Everything gets tested. TSK Coils in the house says, good morning. I made it. Glad you could join us. Wow, we're up to 48 people. That's not bad for a Sunday in the morning. Anita says, talking to Free Time. As to business with quail, a business entity can be formed at any time. However, once our quail were paying for themselves and everything else on the farm and filling our freezer. Yeah. I like the whole, call it a hobby. And for 99% of the people out there, it probably is just a hobby or, a homestead hobby type deal. So Zenaida says, I'm looking for a really good jumbo white for meat. Do you have anyone in mind? The only person that I can think of right now that's selling jumbo whites is HP Murray over at Gopher Ridge. I don't know of anyone else that has Yeah, HP. I know he's got them. Get a hold of him. His website is goforridgequail.com, and he does ship. And HP always has some, decent sized birds. His jumbos are actually true jumbos. So. Promised Land Homestead said, we are going through old videos and found that Allie's website is down and hasn't put up any new content. Maine's confetti quail. Did she quit quail? Yes and no. I believe she still has a few quail that she keeps just for herself. What happened with Allie was she opened up a hair salon of her own, and it took all her time. I mean, she told me that she has no time at all to take care of animals, let alone try to do videos for a website. So she was concentrating on getting the hair salon moving, and I won't say bugging her, but I kept in contact with her, whether it's talking through Messenger or calling her on the phone. And she kept telling me, yeah, I plan on getting back into quail. It's just a matter of time and this and that. But I think she just got overrun, and obviously a business like that, she invested a lot of time and money into it. So that's going to take precedence over her quail stuff. I really wish she would get back into quail. I loved working with Allie. She's done a lot of videos here on the channel. She's come on multiple live streams with us. She taught me a lot about genetics, and yeah, no, I do miss Allie, so I wish she would come back. Minnie's Groda says, thanks for the answer. This is exactly what I tried to explain to the people. Just no one believed me. Can I use part of your video with your answer about the Texas line for my YouTube content for educating people in Poland? Yeah, I don't care. I mean, pretty much anyone here in the States, even Rebecca from Thieving Otter Farms, you could probably go over on the Facebook group. She's actually done write-ups on why the Texas A&M line is no longer around and why people are confusing just your standard dotted white with that. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I think most people are just, it's a catchy name, Texas A&M. It makes you think, wow, I got a really nice line. They're the same birds. It's just you don't have that Texas A&M bloodline. Andrew Abbott says, Terry, you can always come back and leave a comment when the live is over. I could do that. It's funny, Andy. I've had people that I knew who they were, and I messaged them, either through Facebook or email, and said, "Hey, you won," and I still never hear anything back. I said, "You won. I need your shipping information," and they still don't get back with me. So I'm just assuming that some people, I call them and they either don't want the prizes for some reason, or they were given a prize that was something they really didn't need, like. Not everybody wants a Hatching Time gift certificate. So, yeah. Chris in the house says, good morning, Terry. Glad you could join us, Chris. Patty's Garden says, Terry, you can pin the moderator's comment. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think, I'm looking over here right now. It looks like I can pin anybody's comments, not just my moderators. So that's good to know. I never knew that was in there. Chris says, we had new quail with an egg bound. We released the egg. Do they recover from this? Yeah, I mean, I've had birds that go egg bound, and usually what happens is they prolapse when they do finally release the egg. The only thing that I've seen is they continue to prolapse when they lay eggs. And now I'm not 100% sure on this. I know some people disagree with me, but it seems that we're breeding, for size and egg size. Everybody wants the biggest eggs they can get. Well, to me, that comes at a cost. Yeah, your birds are going to have a little bit more difficulty passing a larger egg than they would, say, a standard, 14, 15 gram egg. So, yeah, do I like the larger eggs? Of course, everybody would like a bigger egg, but I think it weighs a little bit on the hen as far as trying to pass them. Although I've had hens that pass what people would consider a small chicken egg, and they've done fine their entire life. So I don't know if that would affect them. I have heard a can't remember who it was that told me or commented about it. Said that a calcium deficiency can cause a hen to prolapse, and not be able to pass an egg. So I don't know on that. I'm not a nutritionist or anything. So, but yeah, I don't know. That's one thing I don't intentionally breed for is larger egg size. Yeah, it's nice, but for one, I like all my eggs. Oops, sorry about that, Cookie. I like all my eggs to fit in the egg rails. Now these are jumbo egg rails for the hatching time incubator, and I've had eggs that were too big to even fit in these. So that's why I select eggs that are a little bit smaller, and that will fit in the egg turner rails. I haven't noticed, and I don't know if anybody is going to disagree with this or not. I haven't noticed a larger egg producing a larger bird. Now it may produce a chick that's a little bit larger, but when they grow out and mature, they're the same size as all the other chicks that hatch from the other size eggs. So I don't know, Carrie, you do a lot of hatching. What are your thoughts on that as far as working towards really large eggs and how that affects the hens and whatnot? I'd be interested to see what a professional would think about that. Let's see. Andy Rabbit says, or pass some of the unclaimed prizes to the Kids Project winners, past and present. That's a good idea, Andy. I never thought of doing something like that. I'm going to have to give that one some thought. Triple Creek Quail says, good morning from Mebane. I guess that's Mebane, North Carolina. Glad you could join us, Triple Creek. Carrie says, this is what I post in the chat winners. Make sure you email your name, address, email address, and phone number to TerryTurnersCorner.com. Absolutely. You know what? Maybe I should have you post that, Carrie, at the beginning of the live stream and then again towards the end. That way, the people see it early on. They will know, okay, I got to contact Terry as far as these prizes go. Andy Rabbit says, I see a lot of winners say something when you are announcing the winners. I do too. And that's one thing I watch for is, you always see the people congratulating them, but I always watch to see if the person that was called or that was selected as a winner comments, because a lot of times they'll say, thank you, wow, I can't believe I won, something like that. And then I never hear from them. So I don't know. Darn it. What is going on here? Lauren says, good morning, everyone. Glad you could join us, Lauren. TSK Quail says, I attempted to put eggs in the incubator on the pointy side, on the tray with the pointy side down, no turning. Out of 50 eggs, only 16 hatch. Was just doing it worth the extra eggs to see what happens. Yeah, I always recommend turning the eggs. I did do a test one time on not turning versus turning, but on the not turned eggs, I always lay them on the side. I figured that was a little bit more natural, I think the whole putting the eggs pointy side down in trays is just to conserve space. You actually get more eggs in your incubator than you do if you were to lay them on the sides. But I always recommend using a turner if you've got it. The Quail Tail Heart says, good morning from Dalton, Georgia. Glad you could join us. I'm looking at your little profile icon. I think I've seen that before. Did you just start a new channel? A YouTube channel? I think I saw that posted over on Facebook group page. Fat Country says, any update on predator proofing your outside cages? I came up with a design that I'm going to use, and the build process will probably start um, this week, this upcoming week, towards the end of the week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 1x6, and I'm going to build the cage like I normally would. Then I'm going to take a 1x6 and frame it out underneath the floor of the cage, and that will have hardware cloth stapled to that, or even chicken wire, just something to keep any predators from getting up through the bottom of the cage. And I believe it was Andy Rabbit came up with an idea about putting hinges on that, so you could actually drop that down if you needed to get in there and clean it off. So I may do that also. The funny thing is, when I design cages and stuff like that, things change all the time. I could have it down on paper perfect the way I want it, and then once I start building it and cutting wood, I'll modify it a little bit. I'm bad like that. So yeah, like I say, I'm going to record. I'm going to video all that, so there will be a video on building the cage and stuff like that. Tony says yes. Okay. James says we had the same thing already. Had a fetus in them, and we were in the high 90s. I'm also in Florida, Terry. Okay. Yeah, it does happen. I've had eggs. This is really weird. I've had eggs that were laid, say, a week to 10 days prior to the fresh eggs that I was putting in the incubator. And sometimes my shop gets pretty warm. I won't say it gets much over 90, but it gets hot out there. And I've had I can't be 100% sure because I didn't mark the eggs, but I had some chicks hatch out way early and other chicks hatch out on the normal time schedule. So I don't know if I selected them eggs and maybe they started developing a little bit and they had a head start on the rest of the eggs. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I've also heard people saying that they've had eggs shipped in during really hot times of year, and they hatch out at like on day 16. So are they developing early? That I don't know. It seems to me that if the temperatures got high enough that they would I don't know how long the temperature has to be held up to a certain point before development actually starts. That would be a good question for like Michael Rose, because he's into that, all that sciencey stuff. Patty's Garden says, do you recommend modifying rabbit cages for quail? I have rabbit cages and want to give jumbo coturnas a try without a lot of new equipment expense. Thanks in advance for feedback. Yeah, Patty, you could actually use a rabbit cage for quail. I mean, when I built all my wire cages, they were basically rabbit cages with a rollout floor on them. I have the same flooring, the 1/2x1 flooring. Now, granted, I do buy the coated flooring, which is a little bit easier on their feet. But as far as the sides, it's the same 1x2 wire that they use for building rabbit cages. I wouldn't use that type of a cage in an outdoor setting because the openings, the 1x2 openings are big enough for predators to get in, like rats and whatnot. But yeah, there's no reason you can't use a rabbit cage for quail without very much modifications at all. Triple Creek says California and Bob White have crest on their heads. There you go, Tony. Gambles is what I was thinking. Patty's saying the quail with the cute things on their head could be California Valley or Gambles. Blue scale also have a unique tuft on their head. There you go. All the professional quail keepers. Excuse me. Miniatures Grota says, happy days. Thanks for that. I learned a lot from you and appreciate the knowledge you share with us. Yeah, not a problem. GIS Herbs in the house says, good morning. Glad you could join us. Triple Creek Quail says, I've been trying to get processor status in North Carolina for a couple years. Chicken are no problem here and can be processed outdoors with a state exemption. Quail are not considered poultry. Yeah, that's really weird. If your state doesn't consider, if quail don't fall under the poultry status or exemptions, I would think that you would be able to process all you want without worrying about it. Now, I mean, I would definitely check into it, but if you can process chickens I don't see why quail would be a big deal as far as getting, you know, an exemption for them. I know down here Florida's got some weird laws. It's hard to determine what they're saying. I mean, we do have a small poultry license. I can't remember what they call it. It's something, a small poultry license that you can get, and it allows you to sell, up to a certain number of eggs per month. You do have to have like wash bins and whatnot. But when it comes to meat, and I've asked the Department of Agriculture that, I said, can I sell meat from my quail that I'm butchering? And her answer was, over the fence sales are fine. You just can't sell to commercial businesses who are going to be reselling them. What that means, I don't know. So what I do is, if I have people that want meat, I'll have them buy the live quail, and then I'll tell them, hey, I'll butcher them for you if you don't want to do it yourself. I don't sell them. I sell the birds as live and then just butcher them for them. See, Ricky says, just built your rollout stack cages. Thank you. They work amazing. Thank you for all your awesome facts. Cool. I'm glad that those cages are working out for you. We've done so many different styles of cages here on the channel. I've done, your grow up hens, wood frame rollout, all wire cages, rollout and flat, or grow out. So, yeah, I think there's pretty much something. Like I say, the next thing that I'm going to work on is going to be outdoor cages. That's the one thing that we're lacking on the channel, is I don't have a whole lot of stuff on building a cage that would be suitable for outdoor use. Although I take that back. I did do one video where I did a stacked outdoor cage, and instead of having like trays that you would use for manure on the upper cage, I had a sloped floor on it. So the manure, would hit that floor and then hopefully roll down. And by the way, it didn't roll down. Once a week, I had to take a garden hose to it and kind of flush it off. And underneath the bottom cage was a compost pile. So I just kind of stirred the manure into that, and that worked, pretty well. That was my bachelor pad. I put all my roosters out back. Lauren says, I can finally sex my first real hatch. I got 11 boys and 6 females. Odds were not in my favor for eggs. Still cute little birds, though. Anyone want to share their best or worst hatch rates? My best hatch rate, believe it or not, is 100%. I've actually had 100% hatch rate. For the most part, I get anywhere between 80 and 90 on my eggs. I hear you when it comes to more roosters than hen. Although I have had actually a hatch where I had like 3/4 of them were hens and the rest were roosters when I needed roosters. I was trying to produce a certain color variety and I needed a rooster, and wouldn't you know it, I produced more hens. Mary says, no. So if you want bigger eggs, just use 2. I count 3 or 4 eggs equal to a chicken eggs. If the egg is small, add an extra eggs in the mix. Don't put the stress on the little ladies. That's my thoughts too, Mary. I mean, yeah, I know, a lot of people want big eggs. Why? I don't know if it's the whole thought of bigger eggs are going to make bigger, larger jumbos. I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. No sense stressing out your hens as far as having to lay these massive eggs. Bob says, question, you know anything? I don't know anything, Bob. I know that I don't know anything. Let's see. Oh, do you do anything? I thought you said, do you know anything? Do you anything? Clean them, wash them, etc. before incubation. I know Chris Carnes, slightly redneck, sprays his eggs with 50-50 solution of water and Listerine. I don't do a thing. I select the best looking eggs. If there's any manure buildup on them, I won't. Sometimes I'll take a paper towel, and rub the manure off and then use that incubator. But for the most part, it's just I select the cleanest eggs for incubation. I did Back in my early days of keeping quail, I followed Chris's recommendation to spray it down with Listerine and water, and I have since found that there's no need to do that. I've also watched videos where people said that they spray it down with a 3% hydrogen peroxide reduced by 50%. So I guess I'd make it 1.5% hydrogen peroxide to get better hatch rates. I tried it, didn't seem to make any bit of a difference for me. So I don't know. I think when people are getting started, they always want to get the best they can, and they're willing to try all these things, to get a better hatch. Nature to me is one of the best things. They put a bloom on an egg to protect the egg from bacterial intrusion. So I let nature, take care of that for me. Carrie says, when trying to increase the size of my whites, I do set larger than 17 grams. It does make for a larger chick. The trick is keeping them larger. That comes with quality feed and a nutritional program. Agreed 100%. And Carrie, I did not know you did blacks. So whoever it was that was looking for, or I mean whites, sorry about that. Whoever's that was looking for whites, Carrie Blackman, Double R Farms, he has them. So you either got Carrie or you got HP. Quail Tail Heart says, question, what do you guys use to disinfect your incubators? I wash mine. I spray it down. If it's not dirty, I'll just wipe it out and spray a mild vinegar solution in there to kill anything that might be in there. But if I'm doing a deep cleaning, I'll use like a 50% bleach solution, bleach and water. The only thing you got to be careful about with the bleach is make sure you don't get it on anything that is metal, any part of your fan. You don't want the bearings of the fan to get bleach on them. But I will wipe it out with bleach. Bleach has always been my go-to when it was time to clean stuff. So, but vinegar and water will do good too, as far as disinfecting it. Dragon Girl says, question, if I'm collecting eggs to hatch from my jumbo browns, what size weight would you recommend for the eggs? Most of my girls lay 14 to 16 gram. I have some 20 gram eggs, but those are usually double yolks. Anything in the, I like, the 15 closer to 16 gram if I've got them, especially when you're working on a jumbo line. But like Kerry said earlier on his comment about the whites, he likes to set, I do set eggs larger than 17 grams. Okay. That's a big egg. That's what I was always worried about too. And I had it happen before back in my earlier days. I was setting larger eggs, and I actually had a chick hatch out that had 4 legs. It was a regular chick, but he had 2 extra legs hanging out behind him. And I actually took pictures of it and posted it, in the Facebook group and on Instagram and whatnot. And then I culled the chick because, there's no sense I want that. But I guess what it was a double yoker that developed and one embryo absorbed the other one. And that's what gave it the 2 extra legs. Okay, Quail Tail Heart says, yes, I did just posting videos of my quail chicks. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you posted over there. I like when people share their stuff with other people, like as far as, YouTube channels or websites that have, educational information on it. I like, when people share that stuff. What I don't like, especially over on Facebook, on the Caternix Corner page, I don't like it when people share their website or their video just to promote their own business, kind of like self-promotion type stuff. I'm trying to keep Caternix Corner classified ads free, I guess you'd call it. We do have Caternix Corner Marketplace over there. You can post whatever you want over there. But, okay. Casey says, I don't know how people turn down free quail items. My paychecks usually go to them. I hear you. Quail Tail Heart says, as I've been annoying my friends. I hear you. I was the same way back when Caternix Corner started. And Caternix Corner started out exactly the way you started your website, just as sharing your quail stuff with people and your cages. That was all I had in mind when we came up with Katernik's Corner was just to, share what I was doing, nothing special, and it just blossomed into what it is. There you go. Dragon Girl says, I disinfect with diluted original Listerine. There you go. Kara Blackman says, double yolks won't hatch. I've tried several times in my breeding. When I find a hen that lays double yolks, I usually call that for that reason, unless she has another quality I need. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody actually hatching out twins. I have heard, not just myself, but I have heard of other people hatching out birds that was a double yoker or twins, and one bird absorbed the other and uh, had like multiple appendages and whatnot. David says, I think snakes and rats can get through the chicken wire. Um, yeah, I was actually going to use, I don't know, it was Andy Rabbit that mentioned chicken wire. I was actually going to use, because I've just got a bunch of it out back, was the half by half um, hardware cloth, welded wire, whatever you want to call it. Um, I've never had anything go through a half by half. Even in my bachelor pad that was outside, I didn't have false floors in those cages. Never had a problem with predators on either of them cages. But I'm not in an area. We don't have a lot of predators. I've seen a raccoon. I've been here 35 years in this house. I think I've seen one raccoon, a whole bunch of armadillos, an occasional possum, but um, we do have rats around here. And there's wild rats running around, but they've never bothered my quail. Bob Cole says, talking to Fat Country, predator proofing. I fenced my backyard with a 7 foot high wire. I fenced in the hutch area with more 7 foot wire and put chicken wire on top. I have 80-ish Aussie Catahoula. Hope I said that right. Mix. Sounds like you're fenced in there pretty good, Bob. Yeah, I think the predators. I've never had problems with large predators like raccoons and stuff like that. The only thing that I've ever had a problem with, and this was years before I got into quail, I had some chicken pullets out back, and it had a dirt floor in there, and I had rats tunnel underneath the wood, and they got in there and killed off a couple of the birds in there. But as far as the big stuff, I've never had an issue with that. Andy says, yep, that was me. I build about the same way. LOL. My granddaughter said once, what you don't have a drawing. Most people go by a drawing, then when they build it, anything but not you. You just build it. Yep. Yeah, it's funny because I can think and think and think and put down on stuff on paper the way I want it. Same with my CNC machine. I will design what I want to build, and then when I start using the software to design it for the CNC machine, it always changes. I'm like, wait, maybe this would work better. So yeah, I change my mind way too much. Bob Cole says she don't allow nothing in her yard without letting me know. Cool. Plus my hutches are 36 inches off the ground. Well, that helps. Guy's not talking to me. Savage Daughter Farm says, good morning. Dragging this morning. Got to make coffee and do the things. Yeah, I got to get out. It's 10 o'clock. Wow, that was a fast hour. I have got to get out in the shop, and I've got 3 or 4 incubators that I've got to get cut out and boxed up and ready to ship Monday. Triple Creek Trail says, I want to sell to restaurants. Processor certification is required. Yeah, that's pretty much the same way it is down here. Anytime you sell, I call it commercially, but basically anytime you sell to someone who is going to resell it, there's a whole new line of, what are you doing back there? A whole new line of hoops that you got to jump through to get legal. Like I say, I try to sell just, locally. I do sell a lot of eggs to people from like nail salons. When I had eggs, I couldn't keep up with them. Okay, not talking to me. Gary Blackman says it must be sold direct from farm to table, cannot be sold for resale. Yep, exactly the way it is here in. What are you doing, dog? Look at that crazy mutt. Yeah, you better. She just wants to say, I want to be on TV. What? What do you want? Huh? Okay, thank you. Thank you. She's getting excited. She might have to go eat dinner. Are you hungry? Is that what you want? You want to get down and get some food? Come on. Hold on, guys. I gotta let my dog out of here. Come on. Come on. Take care. Okay. Anita, I was going to ask you about this the other day because I saw you discussing this with somebody else over on Facebook. What is non-amenable species? What does that mean? I've seen it a few times. I have no idea what it is. So if you could update me, I would appreciate it. Triple Creek Quail says, Anita, I've gotten so many different answers from 2 different state agencies and the USDA. Yep, very frustrating. I ran into the exact same thing back when I first started getting more quail than I needed. I was trying to do things the legal route and this and that. And believe it or not, this came from Department of Agriculture. Basically, all they told me says, if you're not selling to somebody that's going to sell them for resale, don't worry about it. Just go about your business and do what you're doing. You're going to be fine. And that came from Department of Agriculture. The only thing that they did tell me was that if I'm shipping hatching eggs out of the state, to make sure that I get NPIP certified, which we did. Rabbit poop is round, it won't roll on a slope tray. Yep. It's a problem with anything that's round. It doesn't want to roll. Wow. Savage Daughter Farm says had 100% hatch rate on 10 celadons. That's a good hatch rate. It was crazy. When I opened up I very seldom open the incubator until I'm going to call the hatch. I just want to make sure that, everything is hatched out. When I opened up the incubator and pulled that tray out, I'm like, I hope I got, at least 60%. And then I put the hatching basket in the brooder and I popped the top off. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. Started counting them. And I'm like I said, it's 23 out of 24. Best hatch rate I ever got on chickens. Triple Creek Quail says, Carrie, from what I can tell, quail and rabbit producers have the same problem. It would seem that the quail question is relatively new to North Carolina agencies. Anita talking, Bob, we don't do anything to eggs. Washing or spraying disrupts the natural bloom and can induce bacteria to the egg. Agree 100%. Teresa says, morning from Oregon. Glad you could join us. Waiting for my first set of hatching eggs. Cool. Hope you get a good hatch. And he says, when I first started hatching for meat, I wanted roosters. Out of 4 batches of 15 to 20 each, was only getting around 2 to 5 roosters in each hatch. I learned to butcher hens. Yeah. And that's the problem is, if you produce a lot of hens, I don't know. I guess I had that problem too when I first started. I was producing, a lot of hens, and I felt bad butchering the hens, but I became very selective in my selection process. When I'm culling, I wanted to make sure that I was only keeping the best birds. So that took care of that. That's Um, I lost my total train. I lost what I was going to say because I read Carrie's next comment. It said Listerine and peroxide mainly works for chicken. Okay. Maybe that'll pop back in my head. Let's see. Best and only shipped eggs. Celadon Red Range tuxedo types from the Quirky Quail homestead in New Jersey to Alabama. Wow, good. In January. 70% viable, 75% hatch rate, 100% Red Range tuxedos. I'm impressed. Batch 2 incubating now. Cool. Terry says, Terry, it's been a secret project till now. Yeah, I'm seeing more people coming up with these secret projects, which drive me nuts. I guess because I always want to know, what's going on. But like Rebecca, her and her super secret, whatever the 4 S's stand for. Blake, I can't even pay attention to it because it drives me nuts. I want to know, what is she talking about? Teresa says, I'm very excited. Order some pansies from Thieving Otter Farm. You will love her pansies. Excellent lines. They, if I'm not mistaken, her pansy lines came from Michael Rose, Southwest Game Birds. So you are definitely going to get some nice bloodlines. Okay, not talking to me. Savage Daughter Farm says, what about using screen door material for the size and using poop tray to block the bottom on half-inch wire bottom? Screen door material? Are you talking about screen itself? Because I don't think that's going to do much of anything as far as, predator proofing anything. I know they do make that I think it's called expanded metal for screen doors, to keep like your dog from scratching the screen or your kids from pushing through it. That now I would think would work. Status Farm says, Bob, I have an Aussie and Catahoula mix. He's the sweetest. I don't even know what a Catahoula is. You're right. Time flies with good company. That's the one nice thing about Sundays is, unless I've really got something going on out in the shop or have to be somewhere, I don't have a whole lot of, things going on, so we can hang out for a while. Talking to Triple Creek Quail, but this is important for everyone. Yes, lots of hoops to sell to a restaurant. Selling to the end user is usually doable. That's pretty much what they told me down here, Anita, was that, farm to table, like Carrie says, is the way to go, and people don't seem to, the state doesn't seem to have an issue with that. Bob talking to Anita says, I've tried no cleaning for most hatches, but have had low hatch rates lately, trying to determine why. Yeah, I know, Bob, I thought we talked about that. I don't think it's your eggs. What I would do, Bob, if I were you, on your next batch that you set, take the eggs that don't hatch, open them up, and see if you've had any development at all. And try to determine at what point they were developing to. Maybe that'll, give you a little bit of insight as to, was it a incubator issue, humidity issue, temperature issue, like you said, a bacterial intrusion issue. But like I say, if you're not washing your eggs or spraying them down with anything, the bloom does an amazing job of keeping your eggs viable. So, yeah, one of these days, Bob, we're going to figure it out. I mean, there's got to be a reason. And didn't you tell me that you had, halfway decent hatch rates before? This is something that's new that just started happening. Andrew Evans says, I'm going to try the nail salon this summer. That's a good idea. Yeah, a buddy of mine, Tony, he's in here somewhere. He was talking about selling eggs locally. And I told him, I said, take, 4 or 5 dozen down to your local nail salon. Just give them the eggs and give them a business card or, your phone number, whatever, a way to contact you. And before long, you'll have more business than you can handle. And sure enough, he did that. My sister and her husband did the exact same thing. My sister went to a nail salon with free eggs, gave him the business card, and before she got home, my brother-in-law told me that he had already gotten phone calls from the people at the nail salon wanting more eggs. So yeah, it works. But always give them free stuff first. That way I don't know, it makes them a little bit more receptive to you, I think. Bob says, I got to run. Go help neighbor build a cabin addition. Y'all have a great day. Thanks, sir. Absolutely. Glad you could join us, Bob. We'll see you Tuesday. Franken Poopy Pants said my first batch just hatched. Got 5 of 15 that hatched. Well, yeah, I mean, that's, about 30%? So, congratulations on the 5 you did get. Anita says, this is from the USDA website, non-amenable or non-amenable, hope I'm saying it right, or non-amenable species are exotic species under voluntary inspection. Examples include bison, domestic rabbits, domestic deer, pheasants, quail, and there's no more and. Dragon Girl says USDA website lists quail as non-amenable. Okay. Andy says, I still wonder if it might not been that my hens were 3 years old that I was getting low numbers of roosters from. Yeah, I've never got into testing, as far as whether or not, the age of birds would affect the sex of the outcome. I know I've heard everything from quail, people trying to do experiments with quail being temperature sex dependent. I think that one's pretty much been busted. I think it's just, the luck of the draw, I mean, some hatches I get a bunch of roosters, some hatches I get a bunch of hens, some are right down the middle, 50-50. So Anita says examples in bison, domestic rabbits, domestic deer, pheasants, quail, and captive raised waterfowl. Okay, good to know. Now I have new questions for the USDA. Thanks, folks. Absolutely. Frank and Poopy Pants. Did you ever try to fix chicks with feet that curl, or do you just call them? I don't try to fix them. I mean, with the number of birds that I was producing, at one time, which would be in the hundreds of birds hatching out, it would take too much time to go through and try to, repair birds that have splay leg or curled toes, clenched fist, I call it. I just call, to me, it's not worth the effort. I know I've had people tell me I was mean for doing that and whatnot, but, they're a farm animal. You gotta treat them as such. And, if you're raising quail for pets, yeah, I can understand, might want to help save the animal, but I just don't. I call. No. Here we go. Another one. Andy Rabbit says, I have a secret project I'm trying to do. Oh, here we go. Savage Daughter Farm says, the 5S now. Oh, my Lord, 5 S's. Spring Super Secret Surprise Selection. Just got mine ordered. And you don't even know what you're ordering. I guess that's one of the things that gets me is, I love Rebecca. I love her, doing this. And you can pretty much guarantee that anything that you're going to get from Rebecca is going to be decent quality. But I look at it from the other end. Why would people spend money on something they have no clue as to what they're getting? Just me, guys. So I don't know. Kerry Blackman says, one of my goals this year is breeding 16-plus ounce birds reliable and them having the infrastructure to support size. I'm at 15-ish now. That's pretty good. I mean, being, 15-plus is really good. I've talked with a lot of people over the years about producing, a large bird, like you're saying. I think some people want to call them Goliath quail, anything over 16 ounces. and you're doing it exactly the right way. Martin Yardley actually explained this on one of the live streams that if you are going to breed for size, breed for the structure, the framework first. Once you got the framework down, then you can worry about packing the pounds on. So Carrie, you're doing it exactly the way you're supposed to. Horses Uncle Audrey says, "Hey, I'm Ann Margaret's daughter. And is there a way to find green sides Onum?" Okay, you totally lost me. I don't even know what green sides Onum is. Let's see. Dragon Girl's not talking to me. Horse's uncle says, "Do you have a good mind of egg pattern or nah?" I don't really pay attention to egg pattern so much as when I'm selecting eggs. It seems that I have hens that some hens lay more speckled eggs, and other hens will lay more of a mottled pattern, blotchy type pattern. But as far as selecting for a certain egg pattern, unless it was celadon, which I don't do celadons, no, I don't usually select for something like that. But the one thing that's nice about the different egg patterns is I've had chicks hatch from a speckled type egg, which was the phenotype or the what I was looking for, and it made it really easy to be able to walk down. And now I know, okay, all I got to do is find the speckled eggs, and I know that that's the hen that I wanted to produce more offspring from. So yeah, it does kind of help a little bit that way. And he says the only thing about the sidewire holes being small and opening for me is it will start building up dust and poop and feed. Yep, exactly. I don't know what this is. I don't know what Tony Hinchcliffe is or Hans Kim is. Sorry. It's day 20 on my first hatch. Do I open the remaining eggs that did not hatch or wait a couple more days? Usually by day 18, I have pulled the plug, but I am very particular on keeping track of when the eggs were set and when the bulk of my eggs hatch. For the most part, the bulk of my eggs will hatch on day 17, early day 18. By the end of day 18 or early day 19, I've already pulled the plugs on the remainder eggs, just because I need the incubator, for to put another set of eggs in. So yeah, I mean that's going to be your call. You can go to. I've seen chicks hatch out as late as day 22. So if you're willing to wait that long, but I don't know. I never had very much luck with birds that hatch late. It seems to me that they, always had issues, whether it's failure to thrive or just now my dog's crying to get back in. I don't know. Carrie Blackman says nail salons like quail eating eggs and chicken balut. Yeah, yeah, they do. It seems like the Asian community, which most nail salons are run by Asians. Um, I shouldn't have said that because not all of them are, but a lot of them around me are. Um, they do. They love balut and they love the quail eggs. They think that that they're more nutritious, which yes they are. Hold on, guys, my dog's scratching to get back in. Come on, girl. Oh, now I get two of them in here. I don't think any of you guys met Henry. Come here, Henry. Let me show you on TV. This is Henry. You can't really see his face because he's so dark faced, but he's our little boy. Hopefully, one of these days, Henry will help our little girls produce some puppies. All right, horse's uncle. I have no idea what you're talking about on half of these. So, Carrie, I am going to ask you to play moderator on that one and silence him. Frank says, I tried opening late eggs, but those birds didn't make it easy. I never open eggs as far as, if a chick's not strong enough to hatch out of an egg, I don't want it. To me, that's nature's way of selecting the strongest. Only the strong survive. So it's natural selection in my eyes. I do know what the 5 S's, I guessed. Okay. Anita says, talking to Carrie, be careful going much over 15. We did this, and once over 15 ounces, leg and heart problems occurred, much like a Cornish cross. Okay, cool. I did not know that. Yeah, I figured that one out, Andy. That's why Carrie is in here doing our moderating. He'll take care of that. Mary says, Jerry, I won't spend money on what I don't know what I'm getting. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, nothing against Rebecca or Carrie for having, their secret projects. It's just, I don't know. I have a hard time handing over money for something I can't see what it actually is. But like I said earlier, anything that's coming from Rebecca is going to be, a decent bloodline. But, maybe it's going to be something you don't really want or don't really care for. Now my phone's going to be ringing. Rebecca's going to, how come you're saying people not to buy my stuff? I didn't say that. Casey says, my quail are 4 weeks old. Do you think it's okay to move them to their outdoor home here in Ohio? Good temps today, but we'll get colder again, I'm sure. Going into a greenhouse aviary type setup. At 4 weeks old, yes, they're fine, especially if you are in a greenhouse / aviary setup. They're going to be fine. As long as they can get out of the weather, wind and rain, they'll do just fine. By 4 weeks old, they are set to go. Mine are actually off the heat at 2 weeks, and usually by 3 weeks they're in grow up pens. If I want to put them in the aviary by 3 weeks, not a problem. There's Sundial Fragrance Sniff recommendations. Good morning, everyone. Glad you could join us. Savage Daughter Farm says, I made a promise to Rebecca to not say anything. The anticipation is killing me. Rebecca won't even tell me what she's got going on, and I've asked her. I'm like, what's this new project? You'll have to wait and see. Boy. Okay. Andy says, Terry, if we order what the heck are we getting quail? If we don't like them, we can always eat them. That's true. I guess I never thought of it that way, but and it would actually be a pretty cheap dinner, but you do got to feed that dinner until it grows up big enough to butcher. I don't, like I said, nothing against Rebecca. I mean, Rebecca's doing an amazing job with some of the lines that she's worked with, and I recommend her 100% to anybody that's looking for quail. It's just me. I'm going to buy it without seeing. It's like, to me, I look at it like buying a car sight unseen. Yeah, it's a lot of difference money-wise, but I wouldn't spend a dime on a vehicle that I couldn't, inspect, drive, give it the once-over. Dragon Girl says, your dogs are the cutest little tyrants. They are. We got 3 of them little tyrants, plus Red, Big Red. He's probably the best one, because he's my house protector. Okay. Anthony says, thank you, Carrie. Savage Daughter Farm says she's also had a few birds in quail bingo. I actually watched about 10 minutes of that quail bingo the other day. It's a pretty neat little idea, I guess. If you can, you want to. A lot of people like to play bingo, so might as well look at quail while you're doing it. Mary says, finally starting to get some daylight, and it looks like nasty rainy day. It's already 10:30 here, and I haven't heard any thunder, so I don't know what's going on out there. We're supposed to have a line moving through. It was supposed to be here at 9 o'clock, I thought they said. Okay, Brian says, enjoy the musings this morning. Got to jump off. Good day, y'all. Glad you could join us, Brian. Andy says, with Rebecca, what's going on? She said it's a new gene that has never been in the USA before. Now, that would be something I would be interested in knowing what it is. Whether I would buy it or not yet, I don't know. But it's cool. It would be nice to see what it is. I'm hoping that she releases a clean feral line, and I mean clean. That's the one thing that I was working towards, and after a year and 6 months or a year and 3 months of breeding, I gave up on it. It was just like everything's got sex-linked brown in it, it seems like. Carrie says, I agree, but don't want to release stuff until I know they are what I say they are. I wouldn't blind sell to you. Yeah, I mean, and that's the exact same thing that Rebecca is not doing. I mean, Rebecca knows what she's releasing is, going to hatch 100% true if she says it will, and she knows the genetics behind it. And I don't fault you guys for coming up with a neat little way of selling stuff. What are you guys tripping at? One of the Silkies got a little piece of wood chip and everybody's chasing him around trying to get it from him. Yeah, no, I know it's a fun way for her to get her birds out there on the market, and I like her for that. I mean, she's always coming up with these cute little ideas, to get people interested. If it works, that's great. Sundial says, I just moved my 2-week-old out and they're doing great, but here in Texas is okay. Yep, same in Florida. And he says, it'll be a little disappointing if it's not truly new to the U.S., though. Yeah, that would be a little disappointing. Anita says, we also developed a custom feed. Ernst Grain and Livestock milled it for us, and H&H Feeds branded it. Oh, I didn't know they branded it. They branded our layer feed and added oils and essential oils to the mix. Cool. I knew you had your own feed mixed up, but I did not know that they branded it. That's really cool. And they're doing great, Anita. And thanks again for getting them to sponsor the Caternix Kids program. They send a bag of feed for the kids that win. Savage Daughter Farm says it's the ADD factor. I get all hyper-focused and can't stop sleuthing until I find out there's a lot of hints. Yep, Andy, same here. Clean feral lines. That's the one thing that I want to see. Frank, thanks for doing the lives. Absolutely. Drifter, what do you find is the best way to cook quail? I was new to quail last year, but I struggle when cooking quail. My favorite way is on the grill. I love them barbecued. But another thing that I really like, and my wife makes, we separate the breast and the legs, and she takes the legs and deep fries them. And, oh my God, they're so good. Breaded and fried. To me, it's like chicken McNuggets on a steak. Can we see one of the Silkies? I guess. If I can grab one, hold on a second. Where's the camera? I'm not sure exactly on colors. I think this one's a paint, I think they call it. It's got a few splashes of black. Oops. Get up there on camera so we can see you. Yeah, they're kind of cute. Oh, she just pooped in my hand. Thank you, girl. That was nice. Come on, get back in there. Get back in there. Now, what do I wipe the silky poop off my hand with? All right, who made me do that? Savage Daughter Farm. Thank you for getting me pooped on. Oh, well, it's not the first time, and I know it won't be the last. Okay, where are we at? Carrie says gathering gold and champions blend feeds are coming soon. Nice. Sundog Frame says, did you hatch silkies or buy them? No, they were all hatched. I have that top brooder. There's 10 that I hatched out. The bottom brooder is 23 out of 24 eggs that hatched out, and in the incubator is another 24. And I am going to go through and probably end up selling 90% of them. I don't know if I actually want to set up another pen because we have a lot of winged predators around here, hawks and eagles and whatnot. So I'm sure that they wouldn't do very well outside of a cage setup. So, and I don't really have the room. I mean, I've got in my aviary right now, I have half a dozen Rhode Island Reds that Carrie sent me, and they're doing really well. And I'm hoping. I think I got 4 hens and 2 roosters, so I'm going to butcher one of the roosters, and I think the hens I'm going to go ahead and keep them for eggs because my wife won't eat quail eggs, so at least she'll have her chicken eggs. And he says, I almost swear my pretty Pharaoh Celadons might be. They are just so much prettier than any other Pharaoh I have. Yeah, the one thing about the Pharaoh lines as far as cleaning them up, and this is one thing that I've noticed, in the year and few months that I tried cleaning them up, was different times of years, your birds that you thought were clean, that look like they were clean, all of a sudden they'll go through a molt and you'll see all this brownish red collars, I call it. And I'm like, what on earth is going on? Where did this come from? Getting a clean hen is no problem. It's the rooster that you're going to run into. Poop. Yep. Lots of poop. Savage Daughter Farm says, oh, that's the next endeavor. I don't think so, mainly because silkies take so long to mature, and I'm not very patient, That's why I really like Coturnix, is they they mature so quick. I mean, in 8 to 12 weeks, you're already producing eggs from a hatch. So, yeah. Sorry. No problem. Patty says, I'd consider it a splash silky. Yeah, the girl that I got the eggs from said there was a lot of splash. I've got some blues, some blacks, some buff, and in this fresh hatch, I believe I got some partridge. So there's all kinds of different ones in there. Like I say, I'm gonna run an ad and see if I can't sell them. Murray says, I use an air fryer after I trim the ribs off. Oh, cool. That would be a good way to do them. I've tried doing, it wasn't quail. I think it was chicken in the air fryer. It seems to me it always dries them out, and I don't know why. Maybe I'm using the air fryer wrong. Carl says, I was thinking it was going to poop in his hand. Yeah, that's just my luck. Same with my quail. Usually I'll put on a clean shirt, and I'll go out there and start working the quail, and want to poop on it. Like, you can't have a clean shirt. No, thanks, Andy. It's not going to happen. I thought she was going to be nice and sit in my hand for a little while, and I don't know if it was a she. It might have been a he. If it makes you feel better, I'll be cleaning cages today. I'm sure I'll get back tenfold. I hear you. All right, where are we at here? Sundial says just hatched 4 chicks. I'm going to get going here in a few minutes, guys. Just hatched 4 chicks and had a hen on eggs, and she hatched 4 barnyard mix, of course. Cool. Quail Hearttail says, when you're talking about cleaning up the Pharaoh lines, do you mean removing SOB? Yeah, exactly. Getting rid of the sex link brown. Oh, Andy said the same thing. Okay, just curious if I was following along right. Yep. All right, guys. Well, that was a good live stream. Looks like we ran. Jeff Gouldy's in the house. Jeff, as soon as your content pops up here. My kids also aren't sure about quail eggs either. They always want the store. from the Sword Chicken Eggs. Face purple crying. Jeff, you won the... where's my piece of paper? Don't tell me I threw it away. You won the jumbo egg cartons from H.P. Murray last Tuesday. I contacted you through Facebook Messenger, didn't hear anything back, and I mentioned your name at the end of the live stream. So, Jeff, if you want to send me your shipping information to Terry at CaternixCorner.com, and if you're still in the house, Carrie, if you would post my email address again. And Jeff, I need all your shipping information and a good email address and a good phone number. And I will forward that over to HP, and he will send you the jumbo egg cartons that you won last week. So, cool. Andy says they show love by the poop in your hand. I guess so. Heat too high or cooking too long. That probably. Savage Daughter Farm says, thanks, have a great day. Lovely start to my morning. Dragon Girl says, have a great day, everyone. Got to go to work. Jeff says, oh, wow, I'm sorry I didn't reach out. Will do. Okay, cool. It's Terry at CaternixCorner.com, by the way. Or you can, thanks, Carrie, for putting that up there. Appreciate that. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me this morning. Really enjoyed myself. And we got a hold of Jeff, so that's a good thing. Don't forget to join us Tuesday. We will be announcing our latest Caternix Kids Project winner. Kerry Blackman's coming on. He's going to talk all about Double R Farms and what they're doing over there. And, just a few other announcements and some giveaways. We'll be doing the giveaways. So, guys, have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. And we'll see you guys on Tuesday. Thanks again.